No one dared to connect with the alien woman without seeing her face, except for a human man. A small cleaning drone buzzed past Liam's shoulder and nearly took his ear off. "Hey, watch the hair, you flying cheese grater!" he barked, batting at it with the half-eaten protein bar in his hand. The drone let out a passive-aggressive beep and zipped down the hallway toward another maintenance complaint. Probably a clogged oxygen vent or a coffee spill with aspirations of world domination. Liam rubbed the back of his neck and sighed. Another quiet shift, another cargo drop no one cared about, another lonely sandwich in the docking bay. Station Aeon always had that peculiar smell, part recycled citrus cleaner, part melting metal, and part existential dread. It was the kind of place that made you question your life choices around breakfast. Liam had learned to make peace with that. He even named it. "Ode to Midlife Crisis," he told the station AI once. It responded by locking him out of the cafeteria for 3 hours. He rounded the corner to the central garden deck, just as the artificial lighting dimmed into simulated twilight. The sky projection showed a swirling lavender nebula tonight, as if the designers had tried too hard to make space look romantic. Liam hated that nebula. It made him feel like he was about to propose to someone or die dramatically. There she was again, Talia, seated beneath the synthetic tree with bioluminescent leaves. Her silhouette remained still. Her skin shimmered subtly, that deep, dusky blue that caught the light in a way no human complexion ever could. The long veil flowed from the arch of her ears, tall, tapering points like the edge of a comet, and draped down to her chest. She never spoke, never moved when someone approached. She just watched. Quiet, composed, ethereal. The rumors about her had spread faster than a gremlin virus in the hydroponics network. Some said she came from a world where people spoke through thoughts alone. Others claimed she was royalty, exiled for reasons, but everyone agreed on one thing. Never look under the veil. Never look at her face. Liam, of course, had questions. Like, how exactly does one define madness in a station already staffed by a guy who moonlighted as a spoon collector and a bartender who brewed his own toothpaste wine? He stood awkwardly by the railing, pretending to check a diagnostics pad he'd accidentally wiped clean of data days ago. It now just looped the words, "Loading manifest forever." Smooth. Talia didn't acknowledge him. He cleared his throat. "So, seen any good nebulas lately?" No answer. Obviously. He tried again. "Because I gotta say, this one's a little too romance novel cover for me. Like any second now, a shirtless man with a sword's gonna ride in on a space horse." Nothing. Liam scratched his chin. "Or maybe I've just been breathing too much recycled air. You ever feel like your thoughts taste like aluminum?" She tilted her head, just slightly. Progress. He took a step closer, not threatening, just curious. "Okay, I get it. Mysterious alien woman, covered face, forbidden glance. It's got a real space opera meets horror legend vibe. I respect the branding." She made a soft sound. Not quite a laugh, not quite a scoff. It was like someone had told her a joke in a dream and she couldn't remember the punchline. He sat, not close enough to be rude, but close enough to talk without shouting. "I'm Liam. I work in cargo, which sounds cooler than it is. I basically argue with crates." The veil shifted slightly as she turned to face him. Her voice came low and steady, with a faint lilt like water over crystal. "I know who you are." "Oh, stalker much?" Her lips curved just barely. He couldn't see them, but he could feel the smirk. He grinned. "You've been watching me too? That makes 2 of us. Except you're way more elegant about it. I look like a dog trying to understand quantum physics every time I pass by. I find you perplexing. Is that alien for charming?" "It is alien for nonsensical." "Ouch, fair, but I'll take it." She was quiet again. The hum of the garden's air recyclers filled the silence. Somewhere in the distance, a bird chirped. A fake one, of course, programmed to chirp only at sunset. It was probably the loneliest bird in the galaxy. "You do not fear the stories?" she asked finally. Liam looked at her, not at her face, not directly. "I fear many things. Running out of oxygen, getting demoted to waste management, waking up one day and realizing I've become my father. But your veil? No, I don't fear a curtain. It is not a curtain, it is a prison." He blinked. "Wow, that's really dramatic. Have you considered writing poetry?" "I have. They banned it on my homeworld." He laughed. "Okay, that was good. You're funny when you want to be." She didn't reply. Instead, her gaze shifted upward toward the artificial nebula. He leaned back on his elbows. So if I asked you something personal, would you answer or vaporize me? That depends on the question. Why the veil? Myths, not the curses. You, why do you wear it? She was still. For a moment, Liam thought he'd overstepped, that she'd go silent and that would be it. Then she said, because I have never met anyone willing to see beyond it. He looked at her. Really looked, even if he couldn't see her eyes. Then maybe it's time you did. She turned to him slowly. The veil shifted like mist in low gravity. You would look, only if you let me. Silence again, long and deep. Then softly, not yet. Liam nodded. Fair, you don't want to fry my brain. Makes sense, I'm not even sure it works at full power right now. She tilted her head. It is foolish to make light of danger. It's how I survive it. Talia considered this. Liam stood, brushing imaginary dust off his uniform. Same time tomorrow? Perhaps? He gave her a lazy off, leaving behind the scent of poorly digested protein bar and the echoes of a conversation that shouldn't have happened. Back in his quarters, Liam flopped onto his bunk and stared at the ceiling, which had developed a new flickering spot. She knows who I am, he muttered. That's either flattering or a very slow assassination plan. The light blinked once, twice. Worth it, he said, and drifted off to sleep. The cafeteria was out of coffee again. Technically, it was out of something like coffee, brown, bitter, and energizing if you ignored the aftertaste that hinted at scorched algae. Liam stood at the dispenser, staring into the empty reservoir with the disillusionment of a man betrayed by an old friend. This is how civilization ends, he muttered. Not with a bang, but with a sputtering coffee machine. The station AI, ever helpful, chimed in overhead. Caffeine substitute levels currently at 2%. Please limit consumption to avoid diplomatic incidents. Liam shook the empty mug at the ceiling. You're not the boss of me. A pause. Then the lights in the corridor flickered ominously. Okay. Geez, take a joke. He walked away with a cup of lukewarm, mint-flavored water, which tasted like someone had whispered the word refreshing into an exhaust pipe. As he turned into the main thoroughfare of Deck 7, a squat alien with 5 arms and what appeared to be a clipboard strapped to its chest flagged him down. Liam Unit, cargo issue. Crate from Cygni Delta exploded. Gelatin lifeform inside now occupies Vacuum Lounge 3. Wait, exploded? Correction. Crate destabilized. Gelatin achieved autonomy. Now squatting. Liam sighed and adjusted the strap on his utility belt. I'm not paid enough for this. You are not paid. Exactly. After 20 minutes of coaxing the gelatin lifeform into a stasis jar using jazz music and a decoy salad, Liam finally had a moment to himself. And as usual, his boots took him toward the garden deck before his brain could argue. She was there again, Talia sitting beneath the bioluminescent tree like she had roots in its soil. Same veil, same stillness, same odd gravity that seemed to pull at his thoughts. He hesitated near the entrance. For all his jokes and sarcasm, there was something about her presence that unsettled him, in a good way. Like hearing a song for the first time and knowing you'd never forget it. He approached casually. If I told you I just negotiated peace with a blob that likes Kenny G, would you be impressed or concerned? She turned her head slightly. I would be confused. Great, we're making progress. He dropped onto the bench across from her, balancing his drink on one knee. So, day 3 of me harassing you. What do I win? She gave a soft hum, the sound like wind through crystal. You are persistent. Some call it charm, others call it a malfunction. I suspect the latter. Fair. He took a sip of his minty disappointment. What are you always thinking about when you sit here? She didn't answer at first. Her fingers, long and elegant, rested against her lap like folded wires of liquid silver. Finally, she said, I listen. To what? To the station. Its breathing, its pulse. Liam blinked. Okay, that's either poetic or horrifying, maybe both. Every artificial habitat has a rhythm. This one stutters. Well, to be fair, it was built by 12 different species who disagreed on what the word stairs meant. She looked up at the glowing sky projection. Your kind believes chaos is the price of progress. We also believe in pineapple on pizza, so we're not always right. There was a flicker of amusement beneath her veil. He could almost feel it. He leaned forward. You ever get tired of being a mystery? She tilted her head. Do you get tired of pretending you are not? Touche? They sat in silence again. It was strange how comfortable it had become. Liam watched a pair of diplomatic interns walk by, whispering nervously when they noticed Talia. One of them tripped. The other pretended they weren't with him. "Class, I've been thinking," Liam said, "about the whole look upon her face and go mad thing. What if it's just a really dramatic allergic reaction?" She said nothing. "I mean, maybe you emit pheromones that overload human brains, or your face creates a quantum mirror effect, or I don't know, ancient Alarian Wi-Fi scrambles our thoughts. You do. Why? Because the alternative is being afraid." She turned her face toward him. "You should be afraid. I am, but not of you." She was quiet for a long time. Then softly, "One man on my world dared to look." Liam's grin faltered. "And?" He screamed until his mind unraveled. Okay, maybe a little afraid, but he wanted power, not understanding. He did not ask. He took. Liam nodded slowly. "Big difference." She shifted, fingers curling. "You are the first to ask. I'm also the first dumb enough to keep showing up. I do not think you are dumb." Wow, that might be the nicest thing anyone said to me all year. Her hands flexed again. "You do not run." "I do, just not from things with veils and witty comebacks." She tilted her head. "You are strange." "I get that a lot." The lights dimmed slightly as the station adjusted its cycle. The stars above the projection shifted, revealing a streak of comet light. Liam looked up and smiled. "You think they programmed that comet to pass by at the same time every night, or is it just lazy code?" "I do not know." "Well, if I ever get access to the core systems, I'm naming it after you." "Talia?" "No, enigmatic Danger Lady Comet." She made that soft humming sound again. Not laughter, not quite, but close. He stood and stretched. "Same time tomorrow?" She nodded once. As he walked away, he heard her voice, soft and nearly lost in the artificial breeze. "You are not like the others." He grinned without turning. "Don't tell them. I've worked hard to maintain my mediocre reputation." The doors hissed, leaving Talia alone with her thoughts, and the first thread of something that felt suspiciously like anticipation. Liam was running late, which in itself was not unusual. What was unusual was that he was actually trying to be on time. His cargo shift had ended early. Miraculously, nothing had exploded, leaked, or attempted sentience. Naturally, that made him suspicious. He'd even skipped post-shift tacos from the vending unit, which suggested an unprecedented level of dedication, or perhaps a concussion. He jogged through the corridor toward the garden deck, nearly bowling over a slow-moving maintenance bot with a dust allergy. "Sorry, Whirly. Love the new wheels." The bot chirped resentfully and sputtered a cloud of cleaning foam that missed him by inches. As he reached the access doors, they opened with their usual melodramatic hiss, like they'd been practicing for a sci-fi stage play. He stepped in, trying to look casual, as though he hadn't just jogged 5 decks and offended 2 diplomats with his body odor along the way. Talia was already there. He stopped, slightly breathless, then crossed the space and flopped onto their usual bench with a grunt. "Made it. Didn't die. Did threaten an elevator, though." "You are late," she said without looking at him. "I come bearing apologies. Also," he pulled something from his coat pocket, "gummy cubes. The purple ones? You like the purple ones, right?" She took the package, turned it in her fingers. "They are mildly acceptable." "High praise from you, that's basically a love poem." "I wrote a love poem once," she said deadpan. "It was banned on 3 moons for emotional disruption." He grinned. "Remind me never to cross you romantically." "You already have." "Ouch." They sat in silence for a bit. The synthetic leaves above them glowed faintly. A bird trilled its pre-programmed greeting, then looped it, confused by a system update. Liam finally spoke. "I was thinking, maybe you'd like to see something different, something not simulated." She turned to him, her posture wary. "You wish to leave the garden?" "Just temporarily. There's a place in Maintenance Sector B where the artificial gravity fluctuates. The walls hum. The floor floats a little. It's completely useless for work, which is why I love it." "And you believe I would find this entertaining?" "Well, yeah. It's the closest we get to space magic without breaking a hull seal. Besides, you've been cooped up in this emotional zen bubble since forever. Come on, live a little." She stood, graceful and quiet, then nodded once. "Lead the way." He blinked. "Wait, seriously? You are not entirely untrustworthy. That's the nicest thing anyone said to me all week." As they walked, Liam made a point of waving at every camera. "In case the AI decides to frame me for kidnapping," he whispered, I would testify in your defense. Even better, we'll call it interspecies bonding. A field trip? They entered a side hatch that protested loudly, then coughed and let them in. The room was mostly dark, lit by pulsing strips of low-energy blue light. The floor shifted slightly underfoot like a very indecisive trampoline. Liam bounded a little, arms out. See? It's like anti-gravity yoga meets a music video from the 2300s. Talia followed cautiously. Her movements remained elegant, but her ears twitched once, a sure sign of discomfort or confusion. It's safe, he said. Mostly, if you avoid the panel with the melted sticker. She stepped lightly, testing the surface. Then her feet left the floor entirely. She hovered, balanced perfectly, long veil trailing upward like silk caught in a breeze. You're a natural! Liam laughed, doing a half-spin that turned into a graceless flail. See, I knew you were hiding a circus performer under that mystique. I am uncertain of the term circus, but I suspect I am offended. Trust me, it's a compliment. For a while, they drifted in the room, occasionally bumping into panels or one another. The humming from the walls created a low harmonic resonance that made Liam's teeth itch and made Talia hum softly in return, as if harmonizing with it. Eventually, she settled against the far wall, veil shifting slightly as she looked at him. You are different in zero gravity. I become majestic, he said, executing a spin that almost ended in a collision with a toolbox. You become chaotic. That too? She floated closer. Your mind is loud but not dissonant. Is that your fancy way of saying I talk too much? It is my way of saying I hear you. He blinked, caught by the weight in her voice. I didn't realize you were always listening. I cannot help it. My species evolved with no barriers between thought and perception. The veil helps filter the noise. So underneath it, it's all, what? Chaos? No. Clarity. But it is a clarity most cannot survive. He hovered beside her, close now. But you still talk to me. Why? She was silent for a long moment. Because you do not try to see through me. You simply see me. He swallowed. I don't know how to respond to that without sounding like I've been watching too many romantic holodramas. Then do not respond. They floated in silence. The lights flickered and a gentle vibration rolled through the floor as a power cycle shifted. A bolt popped loose somewhere in the ductwork and pinged off the ceiling, spinning in slow motion between them. Liam caught it and tucked it into his pocket. Souvenir, our first accidental adventure. I am uncertain whether to be flattered or concerned. Little of both. That's kind of our thing. Later, as they walked back through the quieter parts of the station, Talia said, You will tire of this. Of zero-gravity rooms? Of me. He stopped. Talia, I once dated a woman who had a pet fungus colony and spoke only in riddles during dinner. I'm pretty sure I can handle mysterious and emotionally guarded. You are strange. You keep saying that like it's a revelation. She looked at him, veil rippling faintly. I do not yet understand you. That's the idea. Keep coming back. Maybe one day you will. Perhaps. As they reached the garden, the doors slid open with their usual hiss. She paused, not stepping inside yet. Instead, she looked at him. Next time, she said, I will show you something. He raised an eyebrow. What kind of something? A memory. Oh, good. I was worried it would be a space tax audit. She stepped through the doors. Good night, Liam. Good night, Talia. And as they parted ways, the station's ceiling flickered again, casting shifting stars over metal and mist, and neither of them noticed the small security drone that had been watching from the vent, silently recording. Liam arrived early this time, carrying a container of steaming noodles labeled Spicy Meteor Delight. Consume with caution and fire suppression. He'd bribed the functioning plasma spanner and a promise to never sing karaoke near the fermentation units again. Worth it. He sat on their usual bench, twirling the noodles with chopsticks and wondering, not for the first time, how he'd gone from avoiding all interpersonal complications to this, a mysterious alien woman, psychic veil, dangerous secrets, potentially world-ending eyeball contact. And yet, somehow, he felt more grounded than he ever had chasing cargo across the stars. Talia arrived in her usual silence. She didn't announce herself, didn't clear her throat or jingle any metaphorical bells. One moment he was alone, and the next she was there, sitting beside him, as if she'd emerged from the shadow of the bioluminescent tree itself. You're early, he said, holding out the noodles. I brought enough for two, unless your digestive system has strong opinions about spicy pseudopasta. She accepted the container, examining it. It appears threatening. That's the spirit? They ate quietly for a few minutes. Talia handled the chopsticks with an eerie sort of precision. Liam made a mess, nearly dropped one into a planter, and spent a solid 30 seconds chasing a rogue noodle around the rim of the bowl. I believe your food is fighting you, she said. Only fair. I've been emotionally unavailable to vegetables my whole life. She tilted her head. You are a deeply strange creature. You keep hanging out with me. That makes two of us. She didn't deny it. After the food, she placed the empty container neatly beside her and folded her hands. You asked me once what lay beneath the veil. I said clarity, but it is more than that. It is memory. He leaned back, waiting. I will show you one. He blinked. Like a vision? Flashback? Psychic movie night? Remain still. He barely had time to reply before the air changed. It wasn't temperature or pressure, just presence. A vibration just below the threshold of hearing, like a room full of people holding their breath. The veil shimmered but didn't lift. Instead, her hand reached toward his forehead, stopping just short of contact. Liam's eyes widened as his surroundings melted. He was no longer on the garden deck. He stood in a city of glass and mist. Towers rose like crystal fangs from the surface of a dark ocean. The air shimmered with pulses of energy, rhythmically blinking in soft violet hues. Shapes moved. Tall, slender beings with faces hidden behind delicate masks of silver. He was seeing through Talia's eyes, no, feeling through her. A sense of longing, exile, isolation. He walked, floated, down a hall lined with echoing steps, the sound of thoughts brushing against his mind like whispers underwater. A voice echoed, deep, resonant, unfamiliar. You are not to be seen. You are not to be touched. Your mind is a fault line, your face a calamity. Talia's thoughts surged. I am not a weapon. I am not a curse. But no one listened. Then came the moment. The gaze. A boy, young, curious, afraid, had removed his mask. He had looked upon her. He had screamed, and screamed, and screamed until blood filled his ears and his mind collapsed inward. The vision shattered. Liam gasped, jolting back into reality, nearly falling off the bench. His pulse hammered against his ribs like a warning bell. Talia's hand lowered. That's what they remember, she said. That moment, that scream. He caught his breath, but he was just a kid. He didn't understand. That wasn't your fault. It did not matter. Still shouldn't. He looked at her, really looked, even if the veil still concealed her face. You carry that memory like it's proof, like you were meant to be alone, but maybe it was just fear, and fear lies. A lot. She didn't reply, but her hands tightened slightly on her lap. Also, Liam added, if you wanted to terrify me, you picked the wrong method. I once dated someone who practiced mind melding during naps. You learn real fast how to compartmentalize your... Talia gave a slow breath, almost a laugh. You are insufferable. You keep saying that like it's an insult. I have another memory, she said. It is different. He sat straighter. Let's do it. I'm 2 for 2 on not exploding. She didn't lift her hand this time. Instead, she simply closed her eyes. He blinked and the vision swept over him again. This time, the memory was warm. A grove of bioluminescent trees singing in soft harmonic tones. A younger Talia, without a veil, sat with her feet in a stream that flowed upward into the sky. She laughed, not with sarcasm, not out of fear, but freely, with joy. Another presence sat beside her, a parent figure maybe, teaching her how to balance thought and silence, how to feel without breaking others. Then a fracture. The first time her thoughts touched too deeply, too loudly. The fear in the elder's face, the walls that went up afterward, the veil, the silence, the exile. Liam returned, blinking fast, his own throat tight. He looked at her. That was beautiful, and sad, and possibly illegal to project without a license. I was not always feared, she said, but I was always different. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small metal trinket, a keychain shaped like a tiny space llama. I found this in a vending unit last week. No idea what it does. Might be cursed. Might open a black hole. I'm giving it to you. She took it, examining the object with great seriousness. It is hideous. I know, but it's yours now. It's called a gesture. Of what? Of trust, friendship, mutual chaos. She looked at him for a long moment. You are not afraid of me. Nope. You should be. He smiled. Probably. But then again, I keep coming back. She held the llama between her fingers. Next time, I will take you somewhere. A place, few go. As long as it's not the unisex showers on deck 4. Worse, exciting. They sat in companionable silence. Somewhere in the distance, a maintenance bot exploded. No one. Liam leaned back. By the way, did I ever tell you I failed telepathy training at the academy? You did not. I tried to mentally project hello and ended up broadcasting a memory of falling into a recycling chute while singing. That explains much. I aimed to educate, and when the lights dimmed and the stars above shifted, they didn't move. Just two beings, alien, human, veiled open, sharing noodles, silence, and fragments of what it meant to be known. Liam woke up to three things: an alert on his datapad, the scent of burnt protein toast, and Glib the engineer squid yelling into the hallway. Your girlfriend broke the containment lab. Liam sat up, blinked at the ceiling, and muttered, Which one, the girlfriend or the lab? Glib's many eyes rolled in unison. The alien one. Veil. Tall. Smells like high-frequency oscillations. Liam groaned. Not her fault if your lab can't handle a little interdimensional memory sharing. She wasn't sharing. Open psychic fault lines. By the time Liam reached the corridor, security had sealed off the research wing and two officers were arguing with each other over who was in charge of Protocol 93B, which as far as Liam could tell involved a lot of red tape and zero common sense. He slipped past them using his patented move, confidently walking like he belonged there. No one stopped him, mostly because the guards were distracted by a malfunctioning snack drone stuck in the ceiling vent. The door to the lab slid open with a hiss and dramatic sparks. Talia stood in the center, veil gone. Her skin pulsed with light, not chaotic but rhythmic. Her long ears quivered with emotion, and her eyes, visible now, finally, glowed softly, not dangerous but deep. She turned toward him slowly, as if she'd known he would come. I didn't break it, she said. I figured. You're not the dramatic type, that's more my department. They tried to scan me, forcefully. Rookie mistake. They triggered a feedback loop in my neural field. Liam surveyed the ruined lab. Honestly, I'm surprised the walls are still up. She stepped closer, and for the first time there was no veil between them. No mystique, no legend, just her. He saw the tension in her shoulders, the uncertainty flickering behind her calm. They saw me, she said, and they didn't go mad. Guess they're built tougher than expected. No, I controlled it. Liam blinked. Wait, what? I focused. I shaped the projection. I made the memory mine, not theirs. He stared. So, you're not cursed? I never was. I was just untrained. That's incredibly anticlimactic. I was fully prepared for a tragic ending. You're telling me this is a growth arc? Her expression twitched. Disappointed? Relieved. Honestly, I don't have the emotional bandwidth for a mental breakdown today. Glib floated into the lab, still twitching. Are we dead? Liam waved. Not yet. But I reserve the right to declare emotional death if the cafeteria keeps serving glow chowder. Security finally stepped in, accompanied by the station director, a sharp-eyed woman with a reputation for cutting through nonsense like a scalpel through pudding. Talia stood still as they approached. Liam stepped between her and the director without thinking. She didn't attack anyone, he said. Your science team poked her brain without consent. This mess? It's on them. The director stared. You're a cargo handler. I'm also the guy who's been talking to her for weeks. You want a report? I've got pages. I'll even draw stick figures. Talia's voice cut in. I will leave if required. No, Liam said. You're not going anywhere. The director raised a brow. And if we consider her a danger? Liam reached into his pocket and pulled out the Space Llama keychain. He held it up solemnly. She owns this? Anyone who keeps a hideous artifact like this is clearly not a galactic threat. Talia blinked. Wasn't trying to, the director sighed. The council will review this. Until then, she stays on station, but monitored. Liam beamed. Monitoring I can live with. Maybe give her a badge. Something shiny. People love shiny. They left the lab a few hours later, after the scanners confirmed the feedback loop had stabilized. The rest of the station buzzed with rumors. Some said she caused a time loop. Others claimed she walked through a wall. One person insisted she turned someone into a plant. That person had already been a plant. They sat back on the garden bench, the usual spot. Talia had her veil folded in her lap. I could put it back on, she said. Only if you're cold, or if I want quiet, or if you want people to leave you alone in line at the cafe. She turned to him. I used to believe I would be alone forever. He met her gaze. Then you met a guy who talks to cargo and gives terrible gifts. I met someone who didn't look away. They sat in silence. Then Talia said, "You changed me." Liam shrugged. "I'm pretty persuasive, also mildly irritating." "And I changed you," he nodded. "Definitely. I now make better eye contact and worse life decisions. You are not afraid of what I am." "Nope, because now I know what you are." She smiled, small, quiet, but real. "Friend," she said. "Friend," he agreed, then added, "with possible telepathic benefits." She gave him a look that could wilt a steel pipe. He coughed. "Too soon. Got it." Later that week, a new announcement came across the intercom. Talia had been officially appointed as a liaison for interspecies communication. Her office, hilariously, was across from Liam's storage bay. He stuck googly eyes on her nameplate. She didn't remove them. She wore the veil sometimes out of comfort, not fear. People looked at her differently now. Some still whispered, but most smiled, or nodded, or brought her weird human snacks, which she studied with surgical precision. As for Liam, he kept showing up, with noodles, with stories, with more horrible trinkets. One evening, as the stars above the garden shifted into a spiral, she looked at him and said, "I have decided you are mine." Liam choked on his drink. "Possessive much? You may protest later." "Later, sure, after dessert." They sat beneath the glowing leaves. The space between them, once filled with tension, was now full of shared nonsense, memories, and bad jokes. The myth of the cursed alien woman was over. What remained was Talia, and someone who dared to see her and stay the end.